Okay, good morning. Today we're going to be beginning with Act number 3. This act only has 3 scenes. Very important, a lot of things that have unfolded in our play, The Crucible. We already have the ending of Act number 1. We had the accusations of Betty, the accusations of Abigail, the accusations of Tituba. And then we had Act 2 and everything built up. We know that Act number 2, the concentration, the setting of Act number 2 was in the house of the Proctors. Everything happened in the house of Elizabeth and John Proctor. So basically, if we put it by settings, setting of Act number 1 was the house of Reverend Paris. The setting of Act 2, the house of the Proctors. That's how we could just crop it and divide it in acts and in settings. So Act number 3, we're going to have a new setting. And that new setting will be the courtroom, the courthouse, the vestry room. Everything is set up at the court. Okay? Martha Corey has been questioned about witchcraft. And we already know that Giles Corey spoke to Reverend Hale about the reading of the books that Martha Corey was doing. However, no one had accused Martha Corey about the possibility of witchcraft until now. So now she has to go in front of the court and she's going to be testifying and she's going to be asked about books and possible witchcraft. Remember, as we said at the beginning, I want your land. I accuse you of witchcraft. I want to get you out of the way. I accuse you of witchcraft. I need to eliminate you. I accuse you of witchcraft. And on and on and on. That was Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. It was like that, plain simple. Okay? People were very religious. And we already know that a lot of people were convulsing. A lot of people had different or strange ways of behavior. And right here in that time, they said, you know what? It's a big possibility that what's happening is witchcraft. Giles Corey is going to interrupt the court vestry room, and it's going to say, it's going to be accusing a man that we haven't talked a lot about. And this man is Thomas Putnam. Remember that we talked about Thomas at the beginning of the line and all of that. Now Giles Corey is going to be accusing this guy, Thomas Putnam. However, we got Danforth, and Danforth is the main judge in these trials. Danforth, okay? The second main judge is gonna it's gonna be Judge Hawthorne. So Danforth first, Hawthorne second. They have the big authority in these trials. Very, very, very important. Giles Corey is gonna say that he has 600 acres of land. He has a bunch of timber, and there's people that are looking for his land, and one of the people that is looking for that land is Thomas Putnam. Also, later on, it's going to be revealed that Thomas Putnam apparently used his daughter Ruth to accuse. Ruth will be giving accusations against an old man named George Jacobs. And George Jacobs, a very good man, but this guy will also be accused of a possible witchcraft. Why? Because of the land thing. Thomas Putnam is a guy that has a lot of money. He's very wealthy, and he has been trying to pursue several of the lands around the area. One of the lands he has been pursued is the land of George Jacobs. Since George Jacobs refused to sell the land, then the best way to get that land is throughout accusations of witchcraft. Okay? Giles Corey is going to be informing the court, informing Danforth, informing Hawthorne that they have his wife by mistake. Okay? Because even though she's reading books, no one had accused her before. Francis Nurse will arrive, and he is going to say that they have a deposition, and a deposition is none other than a declaration. And in that declaration, they're going to have a document with the deposition, with that declaration, and at the end of the deposition, they're going to have a bunch of names. And those names are to back up the deposition. Therefore, they found around 90 people that signed the deposition saying out loud that Martha and Rebecca Nurse are good women. Therefore, they should be put out of jail. However, Reverend Paris, and we know that Paris did not have basically no exposure in Act number 2, as we remember. The big exposure in Act 2 was Elizabeth and John Proctor, a bit with Hale, a bit with Mary Warren, and also later on we got Ezekiel Cheever and Melchior Herrick that came out to take out Elizabeth. So Paris did not appear in Act number 2. He will reappear in Act number 3, and he is going to tell Danforth, we need to prove that their signatures are legit, are valid. So therefore, bring those 90 people so we can see if indeed they're saying the truth. And they're going to be put in a difficult spot. Okay? Now, that's it for scene 1. Now we're going to go to scene 2. Proctor will bring Mary Warren, so Mary Warren could reveal and could say out loud that what she saw indeed was no spirits. That she and the girls did not see any spirits at the woods. Okay. Now, Mary Warren will say that she and the girls only pretended to see spirits. So it was all pretending. Okay. Danforth is going to inform something very, very important to John Proctor, and that will be, remember, where is Elizabeth? In jail. Now, there's something that John Proctor does not know about Elizabeth, and he will find out this throughout Danforth. And what he found out was that Elizabeth apparently is pregnant.
Pregnant?
She's pregnant. Now,
From
Proctor? From Proctor. The thing is, the one that committed adultery was John. Elizabeth, no adultery. I wanna give you that heads up. No adultery by Elizabeth. Now, the problem here is that the court examined Elizabeth and they found nothing that could prove that Elizabeth is indeed pregnant. However, John Proctor is going to come out, is going to say, if Elizabeth said that she is pregnant, I believe her because she will never lie. So therefore, John Proctor says, she's telling the truth, she is pregnant. What the court will decide to do, Danforth will say, you know what? We're going to protect Elizabeth. She will be in custody. Simple. And she's going to be in custody for 9 months, basically a year, until she gives birth to the child. Once she gives birth to the child, she's going to be, if she's found guilty, then she will be executed. But they cannot execute her if she's indeed pregnant. And as the months go by, they're gonna verify she's indeed pregnant. If by month 4 or month 5 they understand that she's not, then you know what's gonna happen. Okay. Giles Corey is going to say something very important. Giles Corey is going to say that he has a friend that apparently overheard a conversation of Thomas Putnam in which he said that he used his daughter Ruth to accuse George Jacobs. However, when Danforth says to Giles, well, give me the name of the guy that heard the conversation, Giles Corey isn't able to give the name. And in that case, Giles Corey, what's going to happen? He doesn't have a physical proof, then Giles Corey will be taken away. Okay? So he's going to be arrested. Reverend Hale will be there also, and he's going to be very, very angry, and he's going to say that the people is fearing the court. And Danforth will say The people don't need to fear the court. The only people that must fear the court are the people that are guilty. If you're not guilty, there's nothing to fear. But this is creating a lot of commotion, a lot of situation in the town of Salem, because people say, at any moment I could be accused, at any moment I could be arrested. Okay? Physical proof, but they're just giving testimony. There's no like empiric or tangible proof here. Okay? Therefore, we'll read the deposition made by Mary Warren, and in that deposition, she's going to be saying that she and the girls they were not dancing in the woods, they were just pretending to see spirits and blah blah blah. And Mary Warren, there's something very important. Therefore, it is kind of convinced of the testimony of Mary Warren. However, he is going to warn Mary Warren at the end of that scene too, and he is going to say, if you are lying to the court, you're going to be accused of perjury. And perjury, you know, if you're lying to the court, that's perjury. Okay? So it's very important what happens and what unfolds with Mary Warren. That's it for scene 2. And we're gonna go to our final scene 3. Okay? The girls are going to be exposed. The girls are going to be accused. And they're going to say, Abigail will be leading up, and she's going to say that Mary Warren is lying throughout everything. That she is lying. Okay? Remember that they're going to back up themselves. Hawthorne is going to step up and he's going to tell Mary Warren, if you guys indeed were dancing in the woods and pretending to see spirits, then in that case, pretend to faint.
Pretend to what?
To faint. So let's see if you can. Let's see if for real you were pretending. Mary Warren tries to faint, but she's not able to do it. So right there, that's going to put a question at the court. All of a sudden, Abigail is going to start saying out loud that Mary Warren is using her spirits against her, and that they're seeing spirits out of Mary Warren. The girls are going to back up Abigail and go against Mary Warren. So they're going to say that they're seeing spirits and all that, and there's going to be a big commotion in the courtroom, and Mary Warren will be put in a difficult spot. John Proctor is going to burst out, and it's going to call Abigail a whore. In front of the court, you are a whore, and he's going to reveal the affair that he had with Abigail. So he's going to say it out loud. He is saying that he stays strong, defending his wife, because his wife will never lie. Then, Danforth says, if your wife does not lie, then we're going to bring Abigail, we're going to bring you, we're going to bring your wife, and we're going to ask her several questions to see if indeed she is not lying. So, the judges will be sitting down. John Proctor and Abigail Williams will be facing the judges, and then they're going to bring out Elizabeth. So Elizabeth cannot look at either Abigail or John, because they're turning their backs towards Elizabeth. And they're going to ask, why did you dismiss Abigail from your house? Right there, Elizabeth is in a big, difficult spot, because she's going to say, if I say because of the affair, I'm going to get my husband in trouble. The thing is that she does not know that already John confessed. So therefore, she's going to lie. And she will say that I dismissed her because she didn't do her job well. At that moment, John is going to be like, my God. And he's going to tell her, Elizabeth, I already confessed. And right there, Elizabeth knows that they're in trouble. So right there, Judge Hawthorne and Danforth are gonna see that John Proctor says, well, you say that your wife does not lie, and apparently that's not true because she has just lied right now. Okay, so they're put in a very difficult spot here. Abigail and the girls are going to use this to start accusing Mary Warren again. They're going to take Elizabeth out. They're going to be accusing Mary Warren, and Mary Warren all of a sudden is going to say that she has been forced to say the things that she's saying by John Proctor. So now John Proctor is going to be in a difficult spot, and now Mary Warren will move with the girls, and she's going to be with the girls against John Proctor. Danforth is going to say that that John Proctor is working for the devil, is practicing for the devil, and John Proctor at the end of Act 3 will be in a very, very difficult spot. So in this turn of events, the one now with the skull will be John Proctor. So all the problem will now be faced against one man, and that is John Proctor. So basically, everything has boiled up with these accusations and all of these trials to now know that Mary Warren has basically betrayed the Proctors, and now she has joined Abigail and the girls. We know that she's very fearful of the girls, so now the girls are using this against everyone else. So now John Proctor is basically exposed, and he has a big chance to be put in jail, and also he has a chance of being executed for the things that have transpired at the end of scene 3. So basically that will be it for scene 3. Thank you.